Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and it is show number 222. Welcome to the program. Welcome to our live audience on Facebook. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network and Voice Ed Radio Canada, or wherever it is you are listening to your podcast. Excited to be on. And this was a non-scheduled show. We crammed this one in here. We put this one in here because I had to get my friend Tammy Jones on from Wallowa Schools in Eastern Oregon. We're going to share their story here in a moment. But I had to talk to Tammy. They had a terrible storm, and we want to bring some publicity to that. We want to bring some funding to that. We want to bring some attention there. That community has been damaged by a storm. The community, the families, the kids, the school, and we want to get that out there. So we're going to meet Tammy Jones, who is the superintendent at Wallowa Schools in Eastern Oregon, Wallowa County, in a minute. So we'll meet Tammy. Today's sponsor is a donation to Wallowa Schools. If you look on the bottom of the screen, you can see the information there. And if you are listening, we're looking for checks, 5, 10, 20, whatever you could send. It doesn't have to be, $1,000 check, but if any little bit helps for their kids, for their community. And that's Wallowa Schools, WALLOWA, P.O. Box 425, Wallowa, Oregon, 97885. Wallowa Schools, P.O. Box 425, Wallowa, Oregon, 97885. And tragedy, disasters, those are very trying. Those are very trauma-filled for communities, but it also brings out the best, right? Think about what we've gone through as a country, people helping others, right? People from everywhere coming out, and here we are on the East Coast talking about Wallowa Schools, but crisis can bring out the worst in people, but I think more so it brings out the best in people. And that's what we want to see here, people coming out to support Wallowa Schools. And how does that affect leadership, right? What is Tammy doing? What is her leadership team doing to help support that community? Enough of me talking about it. Let's bring in the boss herself, making time during her busy day in Wallowa. Tammy, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. It's only been a couple of days.
Yes.
This is Tammy Jones, superintendent of Wallowa Schools, an amazing leader. She's had a long career in education. Tammy, it's nice to have you on.
Thank
you. Let's start there, Tammy. Tell us what's going on in your community. There was a storm there, caused a lot of damage, but where are you at now as a school community?
Well, yeah, the storm on the 11th hit without warning. Baseball and tennis ball sized hail just went straight through people's houses, broke every window on the west and even some of the sides of the house. Every roof in town damaged, every vehicle that was in town damaged. People don't have vehicles to go and get things they need at the store. Windshields were just blown out and other windows in the car, door handles knocked off, trees uprooted on houses cut in half. So it was very, very devastating to our families who are just trying to dig out. Crisis and loss, I think it makes us focus on what really matters. And, it kind of brings out that humanness. And, what we've been doing is just really working to be present, to listen. And, we know that the relationships in our community are our first priority. So we've been listening, checking in. Even the night of the storm, I kind of drove around checking in with people on the street, asking what help they needed. Our prevention specialist counselor did the same thing. Really just trying to hear the stories of what happened and how people were. We had, working to connect, families to resources. We have an open house on Friday. We know that many people were underinsured, or there were high deductibles, and some, like you might have liability on a car. So, you're not, and then you don't have the money for that. We know that the other thing that's not covered, those soft items in homes, as the hail blew through the window, bedding, clothing, shoes, backpacks, toys, all of that stuff was ruined. So on Friday, tomorrow, from 12 to 2, we've gotten some donations. And so we're going to put together a table with shoes and some clothes and backpacks and some bedding. And we're going to continue to just check in with families and see what they need. The teachers have all called their families and asked, what do you need? How are you? It's those stories that we collect from families to know how we can best serve them with that.
And it's tragic to hear, but in the same time, Tammy, it's beautiful to hear what you're doing, and sounds like you're doing a lot.
Yes. Well, we're doing our best. And then cleaning up our own damage as well here at the school.
Yeah. You had some people literally working on the roof that got injured, correct?
Yeah, we did. We had several roofers on the gym roof that were injured, broken fingers, big gashes around eyes, and bruised and battered. We had long metal that was twisting and twirling and just throwing them in. So they quickly had to get to a lift and try to get onto a lift and get down and get to recovery. But every roof on the whole school, the gym, the VOAG, the high school and middle school, and the elementary and the community, the cafeteria and stuff, all will get new roofs. We had water damage coming to the classrooms. So there's a lot of cleanup that's still going to happen. Our bleachers are, there's things that we found that aren't covered under insurance. If it isn't on a solid foundation, things like greenhouses and sheds and some buildings are seen more as more temporary structures, and so they're not fully covered. And so, but we're working hard, and we've got great supports and great people that are helping us get right onto things and clean up. And before the first football game, they're working on getting glass out of the football field and bringing in big vacuum trucks to try to get all that taken care of.
You're not looking for the home field advantage on that one.
No, well, we will be too, but
run it up the left side, Jimmy.
We don't have lights, we have some bleacher damage. So, so all of that. So, we're hopeful.
Tammy, through all of this, like when the first moment you had to catch your breath, what did you do? Did you bring your emergency team together? Did you make a list? Did you pray? Like, what did you think to do first?
Well, like I said, I just started kind of driving around, and checking on, seeing where, talking to staff, talking to, families and community out in the road, and just talking to them. And then it was a matter of, coming together and talking with staff about, okay, how do we help people? And, so people just started calling and, I think watching, what do people put on social media? So, that family really needs help, or that child was injured, 7 staples in the head, concussion, all of that stuff. But it's just listen and then try to connect people to the resources that are out there, and then start collecting our own and just spreading that word. But the first is just really to be present and listen, and see what you can do and how you can help.
Yeah. And that's
then,
great
of course,
advice.
Claims adjusters and all of that, but it's really wanting to know how are the families doing, how are the kids doing, and then reaching out with that.
That's good advice from a great leader. Tammy,
Yeah.
you bumped your opening day back a couple of days, and you'll be starting next week. What will you say to the kids and the staff on day one when they show up there in front of you?
Well, I think, you know, we changed our theme for for the year, because we want we saw a lot of pride and stuff coming out of this. Um, and so we changed to our theme to We Are Wallowa, because that's what's rising out of this storm. It's We Are Wallowa. We can do this. We'll stick together. We can do this. I think our message and focus is really on building community, reassuring students that they feel safe and cared for, that they know we love them. I'm reading a book to students called All Are Welcome, and we'll have an assembly focusing on that welcoming and coming together. Elementary will have an assembly, middle school, high school will have an assembly, but it's just a great book that I didn't even think would be great, but it's just all are welcome here. And that's what it's about, is just reassuring that everyone is welcome and we're here to love and care for you.
And if you're watching live, you're listening on recording, the donation information is on the bottom. And again, if you're listening on iTunes, it's Wallowa Schools, P.O. Box 425, Wallowa, Oregon, 97885. Again, every little bit helps. So we're hoping to help out that community. And speaking of that community, Tammy, tell our listening audience, like, I had a chance to spend some time there in Wallowa County, and the great dynamic between Joseph Enterprise and Wallowa. Tell us a little bit about the community dynamic, and how small the Wallowa is, but with the big heart.
Well, Wallowa is very small, about 775 people. It's very rural. There's not a single stoplight in the whole county. The closest Walmart or big box store is like over an hour away. And if you want to go to Home Depot or Costco or something like that, we're talking over 2 hours away. So, it's, there's no place to just go shopping and get, clothes and do that. So, it's a very interesting dynamic. But what was cool was, this, I think, brought people together. In Wallowa, immediately, it was neighbors helping neighbors, everyone banding together. And then we started seeing our neighboring communities coming out, and like Joseph Fire came down, and they were, busy boarding up 1917 lumber, and Joseph brought over truckloads of like OSB and plywood to start boarding up windows. And people just started going and helping board up windows. Department of Forestry, ODF, they brought chainsaws and started cutting trees that had been, uprooted. So, I mean, it was everyone and just individuals coming down and just cleaning up glass and working to help. I talked to one person, and she was holding her baby. She's like, I don't know what to do with my baby, because there was no place to put the baby down in their whole home. And so, you hear those stories, but then you see people coming in and helping and connecting. And the, local resale shop, that's the only place to buy clothes in Wallowa itself. They opened up, and anything you need, free,
Wow.
come get your bedding. If you need some clothes, let's do this. People's furniture, couches and stuff full of glass. So, there's just so many needs. A greenhouse manager in LeGrand said, hey, we're going to give you a tree to replace one of those that, was uprooted.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's just everyone has come, from everywhere. And it's been a lot of just physical labor. I know tomorrow there's going to be students coming from Joseph that are here to help in the community. They're bringing chainsaws, and they're going to still go around and work to, cut things up to help with those cleanup efforts and help wherever needed. So that's a pretty neat thing. I mean, needs just keep surfacing, and that's what we're just still continuing to learn. What are the needs, and how do we manage helping them, but at the same time, focusing on what do we need here for our school and what do our kids need here.
Well, we know you got the right person at the helm there to kind of guide this. You have experience, you have heart, you have a sense of humor, you got tremendous energy, and we're rooting for you here. I'd like to get some checks over there. Again, it doesn't matter the value, right? Hey, you want to put a comment in that check? Great. But please help us out here at Wallowa Schools and send a check there. P.O. Box 425, Wallowa, Oregon, 97885. Tammy, let's shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about you. You're a dynamic leader. As I said there around you, I don't think I've ever met anyone like you.
Well, same to you.
and maybe that's why we've connected and there's a definite energy there. But you just retired.
Yes.
And you decided to come back and right, you look for the why. Why? Well, now we know why.
Yeah.
But tell me about that decision. You were retired. You were ready to kind of go on and do some different things, and you kind of came back. Tell me about that decision.
Well, I think COVID took its toll on a lot of us, and and I thought 37 years. I didn't think I'd go 37 years before, kind of looking at some other ways to serve education. But so that's kind of where the retirement came from. Is there I was, and but when I looked at the shortage of superintendents across the nation, and that was really true in Oregon, I gave my notice, in the spring, and that's not a lot of time to try to hire a superintendent.
Yeah, sure.
To attract, and that process. So I didn't want to leave them in a tough position. The more I thought about it, we do have a seismic rehabilitation grant that's in the works. We have a capital projects bond that we're working on. And, we're in our final year of that. And, we need to, make sure that that's on track with, budget and timing and stuff like that. In addition, we just hired a brand new high school principal. And I think, Andrew, you talk about mentoring, and that's really what it's about too, is just making sure that the momentum that's been started in Wallowa can continue, and really ensure that we're serving that. Was I tired? Yes, I was. Attacks on schools and administration were tough, and I think it's hard not to start taking things when they're repeatedly at you. Take it personally. I was reading Meg Wheatley's book, Perseverance, again the other day, and she talks about taking nothing personally. That the moment we do, our spiritual growth and our journey just comes to a halt. And I thought, yeah, that's true. So, I think being able to step back and reflect, and I happened to be in a training down in Central Oregon with you, and you just kept going there, and all of a sudden I just realized that, well, maybe I am not done yet in Wallowa, and maybe that would be the best thing, is to give them time to really search for a great superintendent to continue this work, and I can help with that process. So.
Well, good for you. And again, you never knew this thing was going to happen, and here you are steering the ship. Tammy, you mentioned Sarah, your principal. She's a great young leader, very enthusiastic. What did you tell her as she began as principal? And what message would you have for all the new principals out there that are starting during this tumultuous time?
Well, I was fortunate that when I worked on my doctoral dissertation, I did a phenomenological study, and I got to talk and hear the stories of amazing leaders, and just talk to them about, well, how do you lead change? How do you build positive school culture that impacts students and learning? And when it came down to it, it was really about putting students first, and that's really what I talk to any new administrator or Sarah. It's about students first. Okay, it's about relationships and people. It's about being present. It's about leading through service, being humble, um, because it's not about me or what I do. But also we have to keep purpose, vision, values right at the center of things. And we have to realize that we have to keep learning. Professional learning is ongoing and collaborative. And last week we had a presenter here talking about PLCs and response to intervention. And, she made that big point that if we're not growing as educators, the students aren't going to grow. And I think those are the things that we talk about. But boil it down, you can't, you have to care. You have to love, and you have to be able to say those words and serve. Because if our staff are going to be successful, we have to serve them. We have to know, what do you need? And in Wallowa, teachers have been willing to just go without things, and they have broken chairs and things, and it's like, so I said, you need some new chairs, and they're like, oh, no, they're used to just getting by, and it's like, no, and then they're like, oh, I don't have any science books. It's like, or Spanish books, or I don't have this. It's like, if you don't have the tools in your hand to do your job, then I'm not doing mine. And so we have to serve. We have to serve.
Great advice there, Tammy. Another thing you model, Tammy, is tremendous energy. We spoke at the seminar about that. Can you create it? How do you have it? How do you do it? And you model that. You have it. It's in your smile. It's in your words. It's in your body language. Is this something you always had? Do you have to work at that? Like, some people.
I'd say that's who I am, and I think that I think throughout time I had just great models of service, and really learned gratitude and appreciation. That starts with, my parents. Still, here they are in their 80s, and they're still serving the community. They're still serving and helping others. It's that love and gratitude. It's that why. It's that that purpose. Looking, at the end of the day, what are the gifts that you were given? And I think it's easy to overlook some of that. And I think that when we do, we all go through those times, where, sometimes we're like, we see negative, or we see this, or we get so focused on just production and what we're doing, we're not present. But if we can look around, be curious with one another and present, I just believe there's good in everyone. And but I also might be a little hyper at times, but
that's a
but
superpower, not a disability. Yeah. No, and you and I definitely connected on that. And tell me about the positive outlook. Tell me about that. It is definitely evident. There's people that have energy that can be negative, but you lead with a positive attitude, again, a smile. Is that something you have to redirect, or is it always there kind of pointing you like a compass?
Well, I think we all have to work on it. We all have those moments, but I think that, if I can make sure that I can spend a little bit of time reflecting, and really going back to that why, that purpose, then you can see the possibility out there. You can, be curious, you can be grateful in that. And I think that's how I have to do it, is I have to make sure I have those times to fill my own self, my own, kind of bucket. And then, I can look forward, and you can lead that positive energy. And, I've had times where, I'd gone into a new school, and, it was like everyone wanted to dump all the problems on you. And I had an amazing mentor, one of the last superintendents that I worked with. And he was that type that when he asked you how you were, you had to tell the truth. It wasn't just a cursory, I'm fine, and so he was so deeply present and such a servant leader. And I think I learned that from him. And he being mindful, being present, those were all gifts that he ensured that we all had as administrators so that we could see those possibilities and move forward. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be things, but it's that mindset of, okay, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. Good stuff, Tammy.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word reflection. And again, if you're watching live, you're here, jump in the show, leave a comment. And if not, you're watching afterwards, leave us a comment, give Tammy some two claps action, and certainly a donation to Wallowa Schools. That P.O. box is 425-97885 is the zip code, Wallowa, Oregon, 97885. But Tammy, you mentioned the word reflection. And you had some time to reflect recently. You went on a multi-day hike. I think it was 5, you said, maybe 6, but a long ways, a lot of walking, a lot of time. Tell me about that. Tell me about that journey and what was some of the biggest takeaways from that.
Well, for the first, I would say that never have I taken multiple days off in August.
Yeah.
And this is my 38th year, my 38th August. So for school. And I took some days and it was wonderful. We backpacked in 25 miles, set up camp as we went. We stayed 4 nights out in the back country. We did end up getting to a lodge that you had to either hike, fly, or ride horse into. I guess I learned I could do something tough. Climb that. This old lady climbed it. But the analogies I think I saw to teams in school were kind of incredible. So we had one person that served as kind of our leader. He knew the map and he'd been on this hike. And every time that we got to a place where there might have been like a fork or a side trail, he stopped. He waited for all of us to get there because we all hiked our own hike. We didn't try to hike his hike or the 16-year-old boys that were with us, the cross-country, boys that were, fast and, really in shape. We all hiked our own hike, but when it came to those times, he waited. And when we all got there, then we took the right trail. So it was that, I think that's a good analogy to schools, that we have to see those forks and go with that. But reflection, mindfulness, sitting just staring at a river. I laid in a hammock and read a book one day, and read a whole book, but just time for that reflection, that mindfulness, and connecting with people from all over, including our own group and those relationships. Taking care of myself, good food, a massage at the lodge, and some things. So, but learning is really, when you go on a journey with a group of people, we're all different, and staying together is pretty important with that for safety.
And you did that when we went on a hike together. You stood at the areas where you split, and you waited for us, and you got the group together and said, "Hey, which one do we want to go?" And you led us and modeled that. Just tremendous, Tammy. You're a special person with a big heart. Tammy, as again, who knows what's going to happen next year, but as you're kind of ending your career in education, what is your hope? What is your hope for the future? Students, staff, educators, leaders?
I guess my hope for education is to really bring back that respect and appreciation for educators. This is how we grow and sustain, attracting high quality people to the education field. We have to bring some of that back. I think that we've had time that people were so focused on political agendas and that it just, I think educators felt attacked, questioned, and not trusted. And we need to bring that back. And I would say that's my hope. Bring that back. Education is our future. Yeah. Kids are our future, and they're worth everything we put into it.
Agreed there. What's next for you, Tammy? You got this school year. You're going to get past this crisis. You're going to rebuild Wallowa. What's next for you?
Well, I enjoy mentoring principals and educators, superintendents. I enjoy presenting at conferences and supporting professional growth for educators. I've begun some more formal consultation, working with some folks and helping them build that culture and lead change and bring people together. And so I hope to do some of that, more of that, working with that. I've done a lot of building with capital projects, and so working how your school vision, comes into that, and what do you want for kids, and how do you create that? So helping with that, helping with getting, I love to lead staff retreats, and I think that's a powerful thing. So, those kind of things are really what I hope to do more of, working to build culture, vision building, also with RTI, MTSS, and PLCs. I'll probably do some writing, and that's been on my horizon. And and I've done a little writing, but I want to do more writing with that.
Good for you. And you have that spark and energy to do it. And you're a person that people want to be around for sure. So, hey guys, get Tammy out there doing some of that stuff. That's tremendous. I'm excited for you. Tammy, what was something that you wanted to talk about that I did not ask you?
I really can't, think of anything. I think, I feel so fortunate to be able to serve as an educational leader. And every day I still bring that same passion, compassion, energy into the day. And I think that's so important, that in this role, we have to do what we need to do to take care of ourselves so that we can bring that passion. Because what we do every day, every minute matters so much, so much.
Well said, Tammy Jones, and I'm excited for you and your journey at Wallowa, and I hope you get through this. I know you got work to do, so let's get to rapid fire, Tammy. These are quick questions. The first thing that comes to your mind: are you ready?
Already, I'm ready.
You were born ready. Here we go, Tammy.
Born ready. There we go.
Last book you read.
I have many books at a time, so that's a hard one. I read and reread books by Parker Palmer, Meg Wheatley. Just read a book by Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, which is like a murder mystery kind of a thing. And a book that is Please Don't Send Me Flowers, which is a book about resilience and learning to trust. I read that one in the hammock.
Okay. And I know you'll be reading Tales from the Hardwood soon.
Oh, yes, I will. I've already started that.
Beautiful. Last movie you saw?
Where the Crawdads Sing.
I'm reading that book. There's a movie?
Yes, there is. And it's really good.
Okay. I'm going to finish the book and do that.
The book very well.
Okay, good. Good. Your favorite dish?
Oysters, crab, clams. Yum.
Seafood.
Yes.
We had a great lunch out there together. Oof,
yeah.
That was delicious. Your favorite place to travel?
Anywhere. I love adventure. San Juan Islands up out of Washington. It's a favorite place.
Wallowa Lake is pretty nice.
I live there. Yeah.
There it is.
I live there, so that's my favorite place.
You made the water bottle. What was your best takeaway from the Surviving and Thriving seminars?
I would say that enthusiasm is contagious, the power of stories, and then also just the idea of mentoring.
Yeah. And you're going to fill that role tremendously. I know you've been doing it a while.
Yep.
The best administrators are the best because?
At serving and supporting others, because they should take the time to deeply listen to others and provide that space.
A journal or blog you subscribe to?
Andrew Marotta, I don't know if you've heard of him. But I read educational leadership and, Brené Brown and all kinds of different ones.
I'll be looking for your guest blog here soon, my friend. Leading through a crisis for sure. Tammy, you shared a lot of passions, your energy. We were talking all the positivity. What's something that bothers you? What's something that gets under your skin?
When people treat others with disrespect, treat them poorly, um, or just their rumors, gossip, not truthful, game playing. But yeah, mainly it's a matter of how we treat one another. That's important.
A recent victory for you.
We are fully staffed.
Nice.
And
Nice.
that's the worry. With
This
great
la- this last year of yours, you will fill in the blank.
I will embrace servant leadership fully, and really work with staff to bring that district vision to life more fully and take care of myself.
In the opposite order.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
care of yourself. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
I'm ready for fun and connection, hike, kayak, or get out my handy tools and do some home improvement project or work in my garden.
Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
That's a hard one. I went to like different books, and that have just had a great impact. The other thing, if I was just thinking about something I purchased, it might be my handy dandy drill, because I've totally redone the house that I live in, and that's been very helpful.
That's a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
2 words to describe yourself.
Wow. Passionate and enthusiastic, probably. Yeah.
I liked wow.
Wow.
That would be one word for me. Wow and awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing you're curious about.
I'm just curious about everything, I guess. I'm a learner, and I look at something and it's like, I wonder. But I love to learn. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about other people. I'm curious about everything.
And I remember that when I first met you, then I said, "Who's retiring?" You raised your hand, and I said, "Wow, here you are learning in your final year, and you're still at it." And I was impressed by that.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Something about Tammy Jones that people do not know about.
I value quiet and solitude, and people see the energy and that, but in order to have that, I have to have the quiet and solitude. I also wrote a cookbook.
Oh, is that available, or is that something?
Through our Facebook page, Urban Farm Chicks Garden and Cook.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, that's cool. I might have to check that out, Tammy. I bet you're a great cook.
Well, I like to cook. How's that?
Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
And I can relate to that with you, Tammy, about being public, being an extrovert, but that solitude, that quiet, that's good. Tammy, we gave the P.O. Box here multiple times. Again, Wallowa Schools, P.O. Box 425, Wallowa, Oregon 97885. We'd love to see some donations come in and send in some checks their way, and Tammy's going to get them in the right hands of the right people. And Tammy, I know your information is on your school website. Would you say that's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, that's probably great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wallowa Schools.
Yep. Wallowa School District, Facebook page, or the website. Either way.
Eastern Oregon.
Eastern Oregon. Yes.
I didn't know Eastern Oregon was its own state, but it is.
Yeah.
Tammy, you're fantastic. We wish you the best through this situation in Wallowa. Do you have a quote you'd like to end us with?
I thought about that because when you mentioned that, and I guess I would go with a Meg Wheatley one, and it being that all that we must do must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration, for we are the ones we've been waiting for.
That's beautiful, Tammy. Say that one more time.
All that we do must be done in a manner and in celebration, for we are the ones we have been waiting for.
Tammy Jones, everyone, Wallowa Schools, Eastern Oregon. That was beautiful, Tammy. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate your generosity and your connection.
We're going to sign off here on Education Leadership Beyond. It is show number 222. please send Wallowa a check. Again, $5, 500, 5,000. They'll take them all, and it is certainly in need. And I know Superintendent Jones will do a great job with that. If I could help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out at Andrew Murata 21. Tammy, you stay on the line. We are going to sign off here. It was an honor to have you on, Tammy, and I wish you the best this last year and in that new career of yours, leading, mentoring, and professional development.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Tammy Jones, everyone. We're going to sign off education, leadership, and beyond. We'll bring this in, and we're going to sign off. Again, please send those checks out to Wallowa and continue to survive and thrive and keep learning and keep rolling. Thanks, everyone.